Today I am going to introduce you to the 2020 movie Underwater, which combines elements of action, horror, and science fiction. However, I must caution you that there are spoilers ahead, so please proceed with care. The story takes place at Kepler 822, a deep-sea research and drilling facility run by 10 Industries. Nora Price, a mechanical engineer, is going about her morning routine when she notices some flickering lights and a leak in the ceiling. Upon investigation, she realizes that there has been a pressure breach and waves suddenly hit her. Nora quickly tries to alert her crewmates and make her way to the bulkhead, but unfortunately, only Rodrigo and Agenda joins her. Upon reaching the bulkhead, Nora and Rodrigo discover that the computer system is unresponsive. This forces them to manually activate the system to close the doors and prevent further damage. Despite the intense pressure and limited time, Nora successfully manages to start the system. However, she decides to wait for 2 more crewmates to join them before closing the bulkhead completely. Tragically, the 2 crewmates are unable to reach them in time, and Nora is forced to close the doors, leaving them behind. Following their manual activation of the computer system, an explosion occurs, rendering Nora and Rodrigo unconscious for a brief period. After coming to, they discover an emergency recording revealing that the facility is now 70% compromised. While Rodrigo assumes the cause is an earthquake, Nora hears peculiar sounds emanating from outside. Despite attempts to call for assistance, they receive no response. As a result, Nora and Rodrigo set out on a quest to locate the escape pods. In their quest to find the escape pods, Nora, Rodrigo, and Paul first check their location and status in the CPU room. They then face the daunting task of traversing a hallway filled with debris. While making their way through the rubble, they hear a voice calling out for help. Upon investigation, they discover Paul Abel trapped under a pile of rocks. After freeing him and recovering his cherished stuffed bunny, Paul joins them on their journey. They continue their perilous journey through a narrow passageway, even coming across the remains of a fellow crewmate, before finally reaching the pod bay. Upon reaching the pod bay, Nora, Rodrigo, and Paul discover that Captain Lucien has remained behind while everyone else has fled in the evacuation pods, all of which have already been deployed. To progress, Nora uses a computer to unjam the door, while Lucien instructs Paul and Rodrigo to investigate the submersibles. Once the door is opened, Lucien checks Nora for injuries before directing her to the control room. There she encounters Emily Haversham, a biologist, and Liam Smith, an engineer, who happen to be in a romantic relationship. As the remaining crew members assemble, Emily cautions them that the energy buildup in the facility could result in a meltdown at any moment. Lucien proposes that they relocate to an alternate facility, the Roebuck 641. The relocation process would necessitate the crew members to don pressurized suits and embark on a 2-mile walk, all while being uncertain about what they might encounter outside. Despite their apprehension, the crew accepts the proposal, as they have no other viable option. During the preparation for their departure, Emily becomes apprehensive because she has never gone diving before, and no one has ever walked outside for more than a few minutes to perform pipe maintenance. Paul brings his cherished stuffed bunny along, while Rodrigo double-checks the last 2 helmets before handing one to Nora. Liam elects to retrieve a firearm before departure, with Paul following his lead. Once everyone is fully suited up, they board the elevator. However, cracks begin to form on Rodrigo's helmet. Despite Nora's efforts to stop him, Liam opens the door, leading to a deluge of water that causes Rodrigo's helmet to implode, resulting in his demise. The remaining crew swiftly boards a cargo lift, where they receive a distress signal from one of the pods. Lucien dispatches Paul and Liam to investigate, but they soon discover that the pod has collapsed and is engulfed by an odd algae-like substance. They also discover a corpse, prompting Lucien to instruct them to return immediately. However, Paul ignores Lucien's directive. While inspecting the discovered body, Paul becomes entranced by an abnormal, liquefied shape on its back, which abruptly springs to life and attacks him. Liam manages to shoot the creature, and they transport it back to the pod. Emily investigates the creature and observes its sharp talons and its feeding mouth, but she is unable to locate any eyes. Suddenly, the elevator malfunctions, and a full-grown creature materializes at the window, just before the Kepler facility disintegrates in a massive explosion. The crew manages to escape the facility just in the nick of time. However, they must move quickly because the debris from the explosion is descending all around them. Liam is struck, but Lucien and Nora render aid and escort him to an intermediate station. Once there, they realize that Liam's oxygen scrubber is defective. Nora forcibly opens a control panel to call for transportation. They ride a mover through an access tunnel, all the while hearing the creatures pursuing them from outside. Regrettably, their progress on the mover is impeded as they encounter a flooded tunnel, necessitating that they proceed on foot. Nora offers to dive in and explore alternative avenues of escape, which she accomplishes. She discovers a passageway beneath the debris that, while potentially constricted, can still accommodate the entire team. Lucian attaches each crew member with wires before sending them in. They all cross through without issues except for Paul, who can be heard saying he sees something behind him. Since he isn't coming in, the crew starts pulling at the wires to bring him with them. They manage to pull him through, but as soon as he takes off his helmet, his wire starts being pulled from the other side. Paul gives them his rabbit before putting his helmet back on, and the crew tries their hardest to keep a hold on him, but it's too late. A creature rips him right out of the suit and kills him. The crew runs away before the creature gets them too and reaches a communications room where Lucian tries to ask for help to no avail. Liam notices the massive drill through the window and questions how it could have been demolished, given that it weighs 6,000 tons. Emily responds by suggesting that it was their fault for delving too deeply into the depths of the ocean and now it's time to retreat. She asserts that nobody should be there, and Nora agrees. Lucian cautions them that the window is beginning to fracture, indicating that they cannot linger there any longer. However, they're concerned about Liam because his suit may not be able to endure the journey. Liam urges them to proceed without him because he will be a burden, but the others refuse to abandon him and agree to assist him in walking. The group ventures out onto the ocean floor, but shortly thereafter, a creature emerges, swimming around them. Although they attempt to conceal themselves by deactivating their suit lights, the creature reappears and snatches Liam, dragging him into a cavern. While Liam's foot is still visible at the cave's entrance, Lucian enters and discovers that Liam is still breathing, so he endeavors to extract him. After returning Liam to Emily and Nora, Lucian returns to the cave to retrieve the firearm. However, the creature locates him and drags him further into the cave, with Nora attached to him via wires. Nora lands on a buoyant platform, with Lucian entangled at the edge. She endeavors to assist him, but the creature reappears and approaches her helmet. Lucian jumps onto the creature to push it away, resulting in the creature pulling them along as it descends deeper into the water. The mounting pressure will soon claim both of their lives, prompting Lucian to sacrifice himself by unhooking his suit from Nora's, allowing her to float away before he is crushed. Nora endures a brief period of unconsciousness before regaining consciousness, only to realize that her suit is malfunctioning. Startled by an octopus, she flees and encounters a door that allows her to enter the abandoned shepherd station. After shedding tears for the loss of Lucian and changing into dry clothing, she explores the facility. Although her attempts to contact Emily prove fruitless, she discovers a map of the drilling site in Lucian's old locker. Determined to survive, she dons a different suit she discovers on site and retrieves a flare gun before returning to the ocean floor to pursue their original goal of reaching the robot. While tracing the markers, Nora hears Emily's voice, prompting her to hasten towards it. Emily, however, mistakes Nora for one of the creatures and runs away. Nora chases her and tackles her, calming her down and expressing her admiration for Emily's perseverance in surviving and rescuing her boyfriend. They then work together to transport Liam across the ocean floor, resuming their journey while keeping their trepidation to themselves. While lost in conversation, Nora confides in Emily about her fiancé, who was Liam's closest friend and vanished during a solitary diving mission. This is why she abhors feeling powerless to effect any change and admires the fact that Liam and Emily have each other. Eventually, they arrive at the illuminated roebuck station. Upon entering the facility, they encounter a colony of the creatures suspended from the ceiling, seemingly sleeping or dormant. After deactivating their suit lights, the women attempt to sneak past the creatures. However, their strategy fails when Emily's oxygen alarm begins to sound. One of the creatures awakens and seizes Nora, compelling her to instruct Emily to take Liam and flee to the exit. The creature then begins to devour Nora, prompting her to retrieve her flare gun and shoot the creature from within, freeing herself. The other creatures are starting to awaken as well, prompting Nora to prepare a second flare bullet. However, she notices that the creatures are abruptly lifted by an enormous growling entity. Nora discharges her flare gun in the direction of the sound, revealing that the creature approaching her is none other than the mythical Cthulhu. Following a brief moment of shock, she attempts to flee, but Cthulhu lands behind her, causing an explosion that renders her unconscious. Fortunately, Emily saves her by bringing her into the station. Nora's helmet becomes stuck, leaving her running low on oxygen, but Emily frees her by smashing the helmet with a fire extinguisher. After assisting Liam in exiting his suit, the three individuals flee through different passageways until they reach the control room, where they can view Cthulhu and its minions through the window. Nora examines the station map on the computer and leads her team to the pod bay. As the station floods and emergency systems lock doors, they manage to navigate their way through, evading incoming waves. There are 3 pods accessible, but only 2 of them are operational, a fact Nora keeps to herself. They place Liam in the first pod, and he departs with Paul's plush rabbit. When it's Emily's turn, she refuses to enter after discovering Nora's deceit. With time running out, Nora resorts to punching Emily and compels her to board the pod. She reassures Emily that everything will be fine before launching her. Nora has come to terms with her fate, but her apprehension mounts when she realizes that the creatures are targeting the pods. Determined not to feel powerless during her last moments, she devises a strategy. Recalling Emily's observation about the massive amount of stored energy in the stations, Nora employs the computer to trigger an overload of Roebuck's nuclear core, resulting in a massive explosion that kills Cthulhu, its creatures, and herself, while allowing the pods to escape unharmed. The film concludes with numerous news stories and reports indicating that all knowledge is confidential, and survivors are forbidden from speaking out. All video footage has been destroyed, presumably by the wreckage, and TN Industries declines government assistance with the inquiry since they plan to rebuild and continue drilling.